Tapestry weaves together the threads of our struggles and doubts, curiosities, our faith, our joys and hopes to create meaningful conversations that matter. You know those late night conversations that go unexpectedly deep? That's what we want to capture with the Tapestry podcast. And we want everyone to jump in the conversation. Because when we are heard and valued, we can begin to believe we are loved. Welcome to the Tapestry podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Tapestry podcast. I'm here with my friends Mwangi.
What's up?
And for the first time, Michaela.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela. I am 24 years old. I'm a part-time college student and I am a cat mother.
Excellent. And long-time Tapestry viewers who have been checking out all the content may recognize, you sharp-eyed viewers may recognize Michaela from the very first video in the first season. So actually, it was the three of us in that video.
Yeah, it was.
She's OG. She's OG.
Yeah, if you're on the YouTube version of this podcast and you watch to the end, there'll be a link to that video and you can check it out. If you're on the audio podcast, I'll put a link in the description. So yeah, today's topic it's a question. It's, are we spiritual cyborgs? Which is a provocative or like kind of clickbaity way of saying, like, what's our relationship between technology and spirituality? And so we're going to talk about this. We're going to have 3 episodes on this. We'll talk about it in 3 parts. And today we're kind of get started with this idea of it's everywhere. Like, technology is everywhere. So our struggle with it, if we struggle with it, which I think most of us have some sense of a push and pull with technology, especially modern technology like our phones and computers and other smart devices like that. Since it's everywhere, it's got to have some sort of impact on our spirituality and our practice of faith. And this would probably be a good time to also acknowledge the fact that we are engaging this topic using technology, right? Like, this is a podcast. We are recording with cameras and microphones and the internet. So, yeah. Full disclosure, clearly we're at least pro technology on some level. So yeah, like, what are some initial thoughts about how technology is everywhere, how it impacts the way we connect with maybe each other and with God?
I know from my perspective that whenever I come home to my parents and I'm visiting for like a week, a weekend or whatever, their whole evening routine has been centered around technology and spending time with each other on the couch, playing games together. They'll play Wordle every night. They'll watch TV shows every single night together. They'll consume different forms of social media. Like, my mom will be on Instagram. My dad will be reading something on Facebook or something while they're sitting together and they're spending time together, but they're not really interacting with each other because they're online using different forms of media until it comes to like a game or something like that, where they have to talk to each other to try and figure out how to solve a solution or solve a problem.
That's really interesting. What you just said reminded me actually of something that I experienced. Michaela, you might actually have been there like 8 or 10 years ago. Audience, listeners, viewers, Michaela was also in the youth group that I lead years and years ago. So she graduated 6 years ago from high school, and we've stayed in contact since then. But I think we were in a van. We were in a church van traveling somewhere. And at the time, we kind of had this not super highly enforced policy about like technology in the van, like using phones or whatever. Like, we didn't want people playing video games and ignoring their friends sitting next to them, which is kind of like what you were just talking about with your parents. And at some point, I realized that kids had gotten their phones out and they were playing a game, but they were playing with each other. Like, this was some early version of cooperative gaming on a mobile device. And I was like, oh my goodness, actually, I'll allow it. This is pretty cool. Like what a neat thing. And like showing my age a little bit, like a little curmudgeonly about like, you put those phones away, talk like real people, you little whippersnappers. But there is something that can connect us. But you were also kind of mentioning that like maybe they're not fully engaged with each other. And your parents are a generation older than, well, maybe not quite a whole generation older than me and Mwangi, but it's not restricted to a young generation, right?
No, I feel like they're worse. I call them screenagers, is what I like to say, because
That's
they
great.
are worse about their technology than I am most of the time. Because I've gotten to a point where I've set daily like limits on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, any social media I consume, because I noticed it was taking up so much of my time, my brain space, my mental energy, and then
Yeah.
I would doom scroll for hours on Instagram and scroll away a day, and then I'd feel bad about myself. So I put limits on everything, so I can't do that anymore. But they don't do that.
Yeah. How about you, Mwangi? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you simultaneously talk about this idea of like I'm sitting next to you and we're playing a game, so we're connected, but at the same time we're not talking to each other, so we're not really connected in the real world, right? So it's fulfilling in one way, right? This idea. I mean, I think I can get it if you're in another part of the globe and then we're kind of connecting virtually. Like I'm probably happier, but then if now this is not something that's gonna go away, right? So this is something we're gonna have to live with, period. So then,
Yeah.
what exactly is human interaction? Like, is a virtual human interaction still an interaction, right? And to what extent? And maybe does it allow people to be more like open? Like, if I have an avatar, am I more likely to be like more honest about myself than maybe if you saw my face? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is it fake, right? Or does it make me fake? You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. I think we talked about this in a previous episode, this idea of like a digital mask that we can hide behind, whether that's an avatar or whatever. But what you mentioned, maybe that actually frees us to be who we really are, not just kind of this physical expression of ourselves, but there's something more than like my face to me, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's something more than, like the clothes I wear or the way my hair looks and stuff like that. So if you can actually strip that away, that might actually reveal more about you. And could you guys hear my dog just now? That was Wally. He wants to romp and play, and so we had to put him away for a second, and he's displeased. Another thing you mentioned, Michaela, is like your parents are worse about the technology, and mom and dad, Kirk and Vicky, or if you end up listening, I think this is true of your generation too, mom and dad, and partially because they're retired, right? Like for my parents are retired; they've been retired for years, and so like they can do whatever they want, right? And so I have put my own limits on my social media stuff, just like you have, Michaela, so that I can't doom scroll all day. And plus, like, I got stuff to do. But I know, like, I look and sometimes my dad, again, I love you. And my dad and I have talked about this recently. Like, he'll send me 4 or 5 videos that are like, 10, 15, 20 minutes each, maybe less. But like, I'm like, man, I've limited myself to 15 minutes total. I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. So yeah, I think more and more of us are finding ways to limit ourselves in ways that feel healthier. Cause like, I think you said, Michaela, like you doom scroll all day and then you feel bad about yourself. And yeah, maybe I've felt that way too, or felt like I've wasted something, maybe even wasted something precious. And, I think the way Heidi, my wife, Heidi, has put it is, it's like, oh, you were distracted by foolishness. Yep. I was distracted by foolishness. And that's got to have some sort of impact, right, on how we connect with each other, and then with the divine or the universe, or as I put it, just God. Yeah. So like, what are some ways you guys think that maybe the ubiquity of technology impacts the way that we then connect with the thing that's more than the physical?
I kind of think it does have an impact on it, because I know that technology and social media go hand in hand anymore, because every way to connect with everybody is social media. It's online.
Mm-hmm.
It's how can I chat with you? How can I connect? Look at my pictures, whatever. But stuff like that, I feel like on social media and on technology and other things, it'll distract you from taking away from the main focus of what they want. Like, I've seen a lot of people who will use faith and spirituality online to fearmonger and get more clicks, get more views, get more interaction, get more engagement,
Yeah.
because they want people to be scared. But I don't think that that's necessarily the right way to think about certain things, because that'll change everybody's perspective as a whole on certain demographics of people or certain groups, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think too, the consuming the content and what we try and do. So if, let's say, if I'm addicted to Wordle as a whole, that might be a very different consumption versus I'm going to social media to validate my me, right, and see how many likes I got, because that's going to euphorically like take me to the next level. So I think too, what's being consumed and then what you're seeking from it is important, right? Because I think like doom scrolling is okay once in a while, right? Because you might be in a situation you're just like, I just need a break mentally. Maybe you've had a hard day, and you just like you're just gonna doom scroll, right? Like it's sort of like watch some fail army videos or something like that, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Mindless.
It's mindless. There's room for that, right? Now, I mean,
Yeah.
8 hours a day is not that, so there's room for that. But then if it's okay, I posted something, and then 30 seconds later, did anybody like it, right? And then,
Yeah.
well, this person liked it, this other person didn't like it, right? That becomes an issue, and then understanding what even, right? Whatever that validation is, and then you seek it online, less so with the people who are right next to you, right, can become a problem, right? And then we all know that we know we're not the experts at this on this podcast. There's many resources that kind of that talk about that, but
Yeah.
as we look at technology, and it's going to become, again, it's going to grow. We will have more sensors, more devices in our homes, in our workplaces, in our cars, wherever we are. It's going to be there, but I think, is it there to enhance our connections, or is it there to essentially like replace them or hide it? So it could even come back to the avatar thing, right? Like, I can create an avatar maybe initially to allow myself to be, let's say I'm doing an interview with Michaela, right? And I don't want her to know if I'm male or female or whatever, right? So I get this avatar and she asks me questions and she can't tell, right? So then she's supposed to like, rate me on whatever I'm saying. But at the same time, taking on the avatar also removes my identity and my ability to contribute to a group in my own way, right? Because if you hire this, right, if it's everybody comes with the same thing. So, I ponder this myself, and I don't have the answers to this, but I can see technology where we can maybe even appear online where we all look the same, so that we don't, quote unquote, like, right, feel good about each other. But then, this is very Twilight Zone, right? Or like,
or Black Mirror.
yeah, or Black Mirror kind of thing, right? Because we're trying to whatever, but that can remove us from, being human, right? Because, I think sometimes we try to escape from being human because it's hard, right? Because to your point, like if I'm going on and just to enforce some beliefs about how superior I am to you, and over again, that's pretty easy, right? Like I'm not trying to challenge myself. I'm not trying to talk with anybody outside of my beliefs. Like it's easy, right? I wish technology could take us to the next level and the challenges, but it's quite the opposite. Again, right? We have more information than we've ever had in the history of mankind. Yet somehow here we are still like, even though facts can be proven with a video and people still like BS, right? Literally, they're like, nope, don't believe it, right?
Well, and now we have to be extra careful because of AI creating videos, creating things that look honestly so real and so scary to me that I struggle as somebody who watched AI show up in different forms of media for the first time. Like I've seen it on ads recently, people using AI and things like that to like create new content. It's hard to tell what's real or not because the only thing I really have to identify pictures of AI people that aren't real are the hands. There's always a wrong number of fingers.
For now,
So
it's gonna
weird.
figure that out.
Yeah, they're like that, and there's like 6 fingers always. But when they get the hands figured out, we are going to struggle figuring out what is real versus what is fake online.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely want to talk more about AI in the part 3 of this series because I think it says something. I think it does say something for sure. As I think about kind of technology and spirituality and this idea, like, are we cyborgs? Like here I am with a thing in my ear. I remember watching a Doctor Who episode some time ago. It's from several seasons ago, a couple doctors ago. And like there was a technology that people bought, and it was basically they put in their ear and it like somehow like took control of them and they became controlled by it. And it was, they have these things called the Cybermen. Anyway, Doctor Who fans, Whovians, you know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about here. But like already, right? I've got these things in and I'm wearing this thing and, we've all got this other thing and then we're talking on this thing. And so this idea, like, are we spiritual cyborgs for me is a lot of the way that I engage with my spirituality and the kind of deeper thoughts around faith is online. And so like whether it's a blog that I read or like a daily newsletter that I get or a weekly newsletter that I get from some thinker or writer, like what does that say? Like, am I going to those places? Kind of like what you were saying, Mwangi, about like, are we substituting genuine connection with something that's maybe shallower or something that's easier? And so like, would I be better served or would my faith or my spirituality or my connection with the divine be better served with a different kind of engagement? Or is it totally fine? Is it the fact that I read this newsletter or that newsletter or whatever online? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I know that I wonder sometimes, but I guess, and I want to talk about this idea in the next part as well, but this idea of technology as just another tool. Like, is it just another tool? It seems like on one level, yeah, but in other ways, maybe not. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I definitely think it's a tool of ease for sure. Because going back to what we're saying about the avatars, like I remember when technology was first being introduced to my generation and like going online, meeting new people, making friends and stuff like that. I was always told that people will cyberbully you to some extent, or like that is a possibility because it is easier for them to be that mean person that they want to be or to say something hurtful that they want to say. So I kind of think that technology kind of gives us something to hide behind, whether or not we realize it, because it's a screen. We can hide behind that. They aren't seeing your whole actual human person. They're seeing the part of you that you want them to see. You're only seeing this frame of me that I have set up for myself. You're only seeing the words that I've chosen to put online, whether or not they're nice or mean or hurtful towards anybody. I am still choosing to present what part of you I want you to see from me. So I think it makes it easier to like, sorry, I did have, sorry, but I think it makes it easier for you to create like this idea of who you are, whether or not it's a nice person or a mean person. It just gives you an opportunity to reinvent yourself from somebody who you might not actually be.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And as you were talking to, it made me think, when the word technology encompasses a lot of things. I mean, technically, if you have a pacemaker, you have technology, right? You're a cyborg, right? Potentially.
Yeah.
So, as we're talking about here, I think we're veering into sort of the social aspect of technology.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
technology can be applied to enhance human life, right? Or cure disease or something like that, right? And I think the ethical implications of applying that technology are still there. So I think in some sense, there's probably some technology to be like, yeah, like all day, right? If this watch is monitoring my XYZ to tell me blah, 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 right? Everyone's gonna be like, yeah, like, why not? Like, who cares about that, right? And the social aspect. But it's all the same tech at the end of the day, right? So the same thing that is maybe monitoring your body and giving you statistics around XYZ and making decisions for you or helping you make decisions, it's the same algorithm or at least the same approach when it comes to social media around how many clicks are you clicking and who are you interacting with, and if you are clicking this many times, maybe, right, it's registering some sort of euphoria. So what I'm saying is like fundamentally the approach that AI is built on is the same or very similar, but sometimes we look at things very differently. We feel like they're different. If it's something that's I don't have to wear glasses anymore because now I put these contacts on and I can see through walls, right? Because I'm something like that, right? Cool. Like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, that's cool. We firemen, right? You come into fight a fire and you can see through walls and know whether people are there. Cool. All day, right? So, it does make me think about like when we talk about technology, there's a social aspect to it, but then I think there's a ubiquity to the other part that we don't really actually notice, right? Thermostats that can talk to you, or fridges that can tell you like whether you still need to order milk, right? All of the above.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, differentiating between other technologies, I mean, bricks are technology, right? Like there was a time where we built stuff out of mud or stones or straw or whatever, and then somebody came up with bricks, and it was like, oh, now we can go tall, right? They're all the same shape. What? This is incredible. But there seems to be something different about, like nobody sat and stared at a brick. I don't think, you know what I mean? Right? Like we weren't captivated by the brick in the same way that we're captivated by things like this. And, oh, hey, it just woke up and it showed you a picture of me and Heidi. Look at that. Yeah. So as we wrap up this segment, do we have other thoughts on, I guess, some of the impacts or maybe some of the struggles that we have? I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but if there's a way to wrap this in a bow as we move on to the next topic, that'd be great.
I think to speak on the social aspect of technology, just because that's where I see myself using technology most of all, is on social media and other things akin to social media, like video games where you can meet other people, talk to other people, stuff like that. I think it all depends on where your interests lie, because my explore page on Instagram can either be so positive and so uplifting and so beneficial towards my faith and towards my religion by showing me good people doing good things, but I can at the same time I can also see the very worst in people on my explore page if I'm not careful, and I can see people doing bad things to each other. I can see people being mean to each other, making fun of each other, even if it's just like a reaction clip. I see both sides of things, and I think it is up to you ultimately to decide what you're interested in, at least socially, online and with technology.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, that's a good place to leave it, is that it does feel like sometimes technology has control of us, but even at its most pernicious, we still have some control. Like we can choose to just turn it off, or we can kind of game the algorithm a little bit to see the things that we think are most edifying for us, and get those into our feed, which is, I think, a pretty cool thing. Well, technology is everywhere, and maybe we are spiritual cyborgs. I don't know yet, but maybe we'll answer that by the time we're done with this 3-part series. Thanks for hanging with us for this episode, guys. We'll see you next time, where we're going to kind of talk about kind of the good and the bad, the things that maybe hinder or help us when it comes to technology and spirituality. And I want to talk more about that idea of technology being a tool. I think that'll be really interesting. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
The Tapestry podcast is produced by Stephen Bailey. Original music was scored by Taylor Martin. Our hosts are Haley Bird, Wangi Ndonga, and me, Mike Orr. Special thanks to Lauren Richmond Jr. and Resonate Media. You can learn more about Tapestry and join the conversation on our Discord channel at tapestrytalk.org. Thanks for joining us.